Well, hello and welcome. Welcome to Talk Leadership with Cedrick. You know, everybody needs a little TLC, and I am Cedrick LaFleur, your host. I'm excited to be here with you today. On Talk Leadership with Cedrick, you know, we're going to be focusing on teen mentoring, and I have a dynamic guest who's going to be with us here. You know, Talk Leadership with Cedrick is where we focus on leadership and personal growth with business leaders, educators, and local thought leaders. Our goal is to introduce our audience to leaders who are making an impact with innovative ideas. Now, we have a new guiding leadership principle that we're going forward with, and that principle is the law of consistency, which says motivation gets you going, but discipline keeps you going and growing. You know, developing the good habits that lead to success is important. See, just showing up is 80% of success, and some people don't even show up. See, you can beat them out very easily. All you have to do is be consistent by showing up every day. You know, I love the quote by Bruce Springsteen. He says, "A time comes when you need to stop waiting for the man or woman you want to be and start being the man or woman that you want to be." So tonight we have another dynamic leader who has been showing up consistently in the youth space for a long time here in the city of Houston. You know, every week I like to do a proper introduction of my guest, so I'm going to do that tonight. But before I get started, I want to tell us a little story. You know, there was a dispassionate young man who approached this successful business leader with a question, and he said, "Can I get some advice from you on success, about how you started your business?" Well, the business leader told the young man, says, "Sure." He says, "But what I want you to do is I want you to meet me down by the river at 3:00. Well, the young man got down to meet the business leader at the river. He showed up in a suit. He noticed that the business leader was in the middle of the water, and he said, "Come on in the water and meet me." So the young man walked down into the water. He got in. The business leader grabbed him and dunked him under the water and held him there for about 30 seconds. Then he pulled him up and he asked the young man, says, "What is it you want?" And the young man says, I want your advice for success." Well, the business leader dunked him again. And this time he held him there just a little bit longer, maybe, 33 seconds, right? And then he lifted him up again and he said, "Now, what is it you want?" And the young man said, "I want air. Well, the business leader said, "Now, good, you have my attention. As long as you want advice on business as much as you want air, then you shall have my attention." There's no substitute, folks, for passion. It is fuel for the will. If you want anything badly enough, you can find the willpower to achieve it. So now, let's talk about my guest tonight. We have Miss Lucy Fraga Fisher Cain. Hello, Lucy.
Hey, how are you?
I am always doing great. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you very much. I truly appreciate this opportunity.
Well, awesome. So let me tell you a little bit about Lucy. She's currently the executive director of the Houston Young Lawyers Association, and she has been since 2015. She created Teens on the Run in 2011 as a neighborhood program, but it became an after-school program in 2014 at Black Middle School here in Houston. Now, she's also worked at the Houston Bar Association for over 30 years, talking about the law of consistency, right? And she was the director of education that focused on school programs for 14 years. She's a native Houstonian and grew up in the East End. She's attended several Houston public schools, as well as a parochial school, St. John Lutheran in the East End. And she graduated from the University of St. Thomas in Houston with a degree in education. She's married to a loving and supportive guy, Greg Cain, and they have 5 adult children: Will, Duncan, Ben, Molly, and Zach, who are, as she say, happily employed, along with her 2 senior cats, Jerry and Whiskers. So let's welcome Miss Lucy Fraga Fisher Cain to the show.
Well, thank you so much, Cedrick. You're so sweet. Thank you very much.
Well, awesome. Well, I'm excited to have you here. I'm always excited to talk to people who are in the youth development space, because that's just it's just so important and so critical, that we have people who are trying to mentor and to help our youth grow and go above and beyond and have a growth mindset.
Yes, they're our future.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you that they are our future. So, I read your bio, Lucy, but tell the listeners about your leadership journey and how did you get to where you are today?
Well, for leadership, for Teens on the Run, I started this, like you said, in 2014. But I've been working at the Houston Bar Association. I graduated from University of St. Thomas with a degree in education, and I started working at the Houston Bar, and I work with their school programs. And when I work with the school programs, I work with middle grade students. And when I work with middle grade students, I saw the importance of really trying to provide mentorship programs through them, to help them, because like we both said, that they're the future of they are our future. And so working with them for many years. I also was a runner. When I was a runner, I really enjoyed the running programs that I was participating in. And I saw how those programs could be really used as a implement for kids, to learn about different things, along with education. And so my husband, who's an attorney, came up with the idea of let's try to do it as a nonprofit. And because of that, we started choosing the youth. And because of that, I learned the importance of, like you were saying about leadership, from my working at the Houston Bar Association, how to put together programs, meet with people, get things out there, and not be fearful of being turned down, but just to help make a difference in people's lives.
Well, that is awesome. Making a difference with a person's life, right? I always tell people that's the difference between success and significance. Success is adding value to ourselves, and significance is adding value to other people. So that is so awesome. So tell us more about Teens on the Run.
Well, Teens on the Run came up, as I stated. I belonged to a running group, and when I did a running group, we would have meet every week and did a run, and then we have guest speakers. And I thought that was a good way of doing a program for students in middle school. When I work with 8th grade students, I really saw that I work with students along with college students, law students, because we would do an 8th grade mock trial. And I saw the interaction between the middle school 8th graders to my law students. And it was just a really different type of, learning, because they were just talking about general questions, interactions, and things like that. And so I was talking to my husband about it. I said, there really should be a program for this for kids, for middle grade students. They really need to have some type of mentorship. And there are different types of mentorship that we talked about. And one of them I thought was good was providing like a running program along with having guest speakers. And so we applied for a nonprofit, and we got the nonprofit status, and we decided to go forward. We did it in the neighborhood. We did it at TC's Jester Park. We did it in East End at Mason Park. We have a couple of families to come. I encourage parents. And then someone suggested I should try to do it as a middle school, after school program. And I approached Black Middle School, and they were very excited about it. And they let me get the opportunity to start that program there. And so I just mimicked it from how I did my running program, but did it for students. We meet twice a week. It's free for students, and we have guest speakers once a week on different topics that we feel that are pertinent to the middle grade students. And we hire college students to be mentors to run the program, because it's no fun to see an old lady like me in the classroom. It's better when you have somebody closer to the student's age. And we just started that program. And we were very successful, but then we had to stop the program due to some issues with my family, but then the pandemic, and we're rebooting it this fall.
Yeah, well, the pandemic stopped a whole lot of things, but the beautiful thing is we know that mentoring youth is something that should always continue, whether it's live or virtual, right? That's outstanding. So when you think about all the reasons why you started Teens on the Run, why do you think it's so important today to have these type programs for middle schoolers?
Well, I think school is really different. I think we're really focusing a lot on testing and kids having to meet certain goals. And I feel like we have sort of lost the opportunity where students get to meet different guest speakers or different people that have conversations about real life. And so I think having mentorships and having the opportunity to meet college students and working the goal for Teens on the Run gives them the opportunity to just have a conversation. Parents are really busy. Everybody's really seems to be busy. But I think just having conversation. I look back at my childhood and I know I'm a much older person, but what I some of the things I really found most impressed in my memories is I was in programs that had college students or high school students when I was younger, and just having them say things and talk about everyday life really made an impression. Basically, they were saying the same thing our parents were saying, but hearing it from a third person made it very different. And I think that's why mentorship is really important. A lot of times, mentors are saying the things that parents have said, but maybe the kids are not listening as much, but it makes a difference.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. And we know that the data tells us that students who have a mentor are 52% less likely to skip school and 37% less likely to skip a day of class, right? Now, that alone is more reason why we need to have more mentors, more people volunteer. And I know we'll talk about how people can get involved with your program. We have your website scrolling across the screen, but let's do that a couple of times throughout the show. Let's tell people how they can get involved with your program.
Well, I am always looking for guest speakers and mentors to talk college students or whatever to be a participant. They can go to our website and sign up and they can volunteer. Presently, we're at Black Middle School. Our goal is to be at various middle schools around the city, but right now we're Black. And if they're interested, I'll contact them and I'm sure we can find a way for you to be involved with Black Middle School or one of our other schools that are interested in the program.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So yeah, I'll have to make sure I get signed up to go talk to medical students here. So your target audience for a couple of things. One, the ideal target for Teens on the Run is middle schoolers. Is that
It
correct?
is sixth, seventh, and eighth grade. Because as you were saying, the importance of mentorship makes a difference. That's kids will come to school and they want to be a part of, part of a group or something of that sort of mentors. So that's what Teens on the Run is. I felt like that was a very important um, areas for kids to be involved in and for mentors to be involved in.
Okay, all right. And then with that, um, the target audience for someone that wants to volunteer for the program, what's the ideal age for them?
I was really looking for people that are under 30. I know that, but I think that makes a difference when the kids have a mentor. College students, I hire college students to participate, to work, to oversee the program. And I really find that makes a big of a difference because the kids in middle school are not too far away from college student ages.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Well, definitely having people that are close to their age is always a good thing. So, what has been the biggest challenge that you've had with Teens on the Run?
Well, I mean, I guess like you would say, fundraising with any nonprofit, but really the biggest challenge is getting schools more involved in it. I reach out to schools, I send out letters, and some schools will contact me later. And I know they're really busy, but I really feel like making sure schools are aware of the program and how it is a free program. And the other school program for Teens on the Run is really not for the kid who's in band practice or sports because they already have focus. Really, Teens on the Run for the students who have not involved with those. But they don't want to go home to an empty house or wait for their parents at 5:30. So the program is really geared for those students. That they have something to do on those 2 days a week to meet with kids and our mentors, college students, and get to have play. We do games, we do sports, and every program where everybody's supposed to walk or run at least 1 mile. And when they meet certain levels, 5 mile, 10 mile, they receive a giveaway gift for making those achievements. I like to call you earn the mile, you earn it, because as you know and I know, when you earn something, it makes it much more valuable, whatever it may be.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, I like that. Earn the mile challenge. That's actually pretty cool. So tell us, Lucy, a little bit something interesting or fun about yourself.
Well, about myself, I think being a mom of five kids was a really fun kind of thing. I like to work out. I think fun for me is just being really with fun with people in the neighborhood. I do a lot of stuff in my neighborhood community. I really feel like people working together and meeting new people is fun and it's exciting. Just like you like to introduce, meet new people and learn new things. That's what I like. It's just enjoying friendships with different people. I
Awesome.
I run, I walk, and do all that, but the fun thing to me is just doing fun things in the neighborhood. I'm very involved with my neighborhood association.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. So we talked about at the top of the show, folks, the law of consistency, right? And what you're hearing from Lucy is consistency in everything that she does, and it's not just in her career, but it's consistency in giving back, consistency in doing things in the local community. So you saw that every step along the way. If I go back and look at her bio, right? Consistency in her career, 30 years. 14 years running, being the director of education for Houston Bar Association. Since 2011, being the executive director for the Houston Young Lawyers Association. Now you're hearing it in terms of running the Teens on the Run program since 2015. And you're hearing it, and she's talking about what she's doing in her local community. In addition to these things, right? The law of consistency, folks, and this is really what we're talking about tonight, helping our young people understand the value and the power of being consistent in the things that they do, in their thinking and how they handle themselves, how they respond.
So true. Very true. Consistency and being out there and just working hard to make sure that you're there to meet people's goals and make a difference. You're right. My fun things really, to be honest, is working with people and doing community. I grew up in a household that was really important. My parents didn't have much education, but they felt like education was a primary way to make it through the world. But also, don't forget where you came from and make a difference in the community. And that has always been everything with my focus. And that's what Teens on the Run is. Teens on the Run gives you, and just like you were saying, the education is really meeting people and telling people you can be there. You can make what you want. If you believe in something, just like you were saying about the young gentleman going to the river, if you really want something, you believe in something, you're going to do what you need to do the right way, the hard way, but you'll make your goal. And no matter what people say, if you believe in that passion, you can make it.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you. So, how have your priorities changed with Teens on the Run since when you first started it?
When I first started, it was just like a neighborhood. I just thought it'd be a fun thing to do. And then when my husband and a couple of people suggested it as a nonprofit and became like a nonprofit, which I was surprised. But what I really come to realize, what people do want to be involved, and they do want to provide program for their kids. And parents do want their kids to be in a safe environment, either it's in the neighborhood park or in the school after school program. They do want to have something, an education where their kids can learn something that maybe they're not didn't know from home or didn't have the ideas about it or things like
Hmm.
that. And that's one thing mentorship does. A lot of times it gives a student an idea that he or she never even thought about until somebody brought it up. It's like, you mean I could do this? Yes, you can. I can make that be successful in that. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Don't give up on yourself.
Absolutely, 100% agree with you. So, when we think about leaders, um, let's think of youth leaders, for example. So, everyone comes with different strengths and different packages. You can think about some of the youth that you've worked with over the years, right? What are some of the qualities that you are looking for or that you like to see or let me do it a different way. Help youth develop. What are some of the leadership qualities you like to help them develop to be a young leader?
Well, one of the things is not to be fearful of hard work. I think a lot of students don't understand hard work is important. Everybody in our society, we always want everything instant. You have a microwave, you have instant coffee, you have instant everything. But to be a leader, it takes challenges. You go up and down, and it's hard work. And
Hmm.
hard work shouldn't be fearful. I think sometimes people are fearful of hard work. When you tell students certain things, you got to do, like you were saying about running for the mile. I really believe earning. Like when I started the program, the students asked me, "Are we all going to get T-shirts?" No, you have to do 5 miles. The first 5 miles, you'll get a T-shirt. And they were like, "What?" And so when the students did beat the 5 miles, they were excited. Miss Lisi, I'm going to make 5 miles, this week. And then when they got their shirt, they got really excited. In my neighborhood association, or my neighborhood, I live in Oak Forest, and I've been here almost 30 years, and it's been changing. And one of the things I did with the Teens on the Run, I created a running group in our neighborhood. And so we met every Tuesday, and if you came 10 days, 10 times, you got a T-shirt, and we would take a picture. Our neighborhood is a Oak Forest, so I use a squirrel as our mascot, and you earn the squirrel. Adults were excited about getting the shirt. Same thing with the student. And what I really, it's just like it's nothing more than you earning the hard work of running or walking that many times, but you got it, and it makes you feel good. And that's what the whole thing about leadership is, not being, teaching the person it's okay to be fearful of hard work, but keep going, because you'll be really excited and proud of yourself when you meet that goal. And that's what good leaders do. We're teaching and helping kids find that goal.
Absolutely. It reminds me of a concept called cross the line. And with this concept of cross the line, there's four tenets really. The first one is choose to commit. Make the choice to improve your chances of going beyond mediocrity. The second one is hard work, right? Or work hard rather is what it says, right? Real effort and attention are the keys to making good things happen, right? And then the third one is focus. Eliminate distractions, minimize negative people, thoughts, and things, so that you can be laser focused on whatever it is you need to be laser focused on. And then last tenet is bounce back. Be resilient, right? Embrace challenges and learn from your mistakes.
That is true. I mean, one of the things, as we all know, is how you deal with failure. You're going with the goal. But if you have failure, you fail and you quit, where do you go? If you fail and you dust yourself off and you like, I need to do this and that. Like I said, I used to run. And when I ran the first marathon here in Houston, I was running, and the last couple of miles, the cops would drive around and say, if you don't step up, you won't make it to the time to get the medal. And so people were running really fast. Well, I knew I wasn't going to make it, and I was running. And there was this young girl crying, and she was crying. I said, "What's wrong?" She's like, "I'm not going to make it. I'm not going to make it." I said, "Well, this marathon we do it in 6 hours. Other marathons are 7 hours. So even if you're 6, I mean, you're doing a 7. It's still, you're going to make it. You're going to get the medal. Maybe not put your name in the newspaper, but you'll get there. And you try next time." And the whole thing is, you don't give up. You may be upset and may not meet that goal that first time, but you try it again and don't give up. And that's where you make the leadership, as you were talking about. That's what real leaders are. You don't give up. You learn from what you made mistake, and you bounce back. And is it easy? No, but it's the way to go.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, everything that's easy is not necessarily the best for you, right?
That's true. That's so true.
There's a lot of easy things that
Right.
really not good for you. So many times, Lucy, when entrepreneurs decide to start a venture, a mentoring program, for example, they decide to start, some other business with a product or service or whatever, they see that it's hard, and sometimes they feel like giving up, throwing
Right.
in the towel, and
Right.
saying, I can't do it, right? What do you say to those? Let's look at it from a student perspective. What do you say to that child that is thinking about giving up?
My first thing is just like when we talk to our kids, why are you going to give up? Don't you believe in yourself? I mean, there are sometimes, I granted, through life, we all say, might not be the right thing to do. Might just not.
Sure.
But when you're young and you're just starting out, don't give up on yourself at that time. Believe in yourself. That is the most important thing. If you don't believe in you, nobody else is. My mother would say that all the time. She's like, I can't be there for you all the time. You have to stand up for yourself and be yourself. Be respectful, be, trustworthy, be this, but don't give up. And that's what I would tell young students when we did Teens on the Run. We had like I said, we did it back in 2014, and one of my college students was talking to a young boy, and young boy was saying, "I'm not going to do that. I'll never be this and that." And my college students started telling that young boy about his life and the challenges he came through. And what it really made me understand, that's why I think mentorship, like you said, and Teens on the Run and programs like that make a difference, because people hear from somebody else the challenges. And basically, we all say the same thing. Don't give up on yourself. It is hard right now, but take it one day at a time. Make these goals. Don't make big goals, but make little goals and reach them, and don't give up.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
Do well.
Yeah, I agree with you around that. So, I didn't ask this question earlier, but it just popped in my head. So, what made you decide to call the program Teens on the Run? Because I like the name.
Because it's really about teens. When I first started this program, it's teens because they're middle grade students and they're in their teens. Mm-hmm. And some people, when I gave that name out, people thought it was like Teens on the Run, like people running away from trouble or something like that. I never even thought that. I just thought it'd be a fun thing to do. There's other groups, Girls on the Runs, whatever. But I just thought teens, because it's not just for girls, it's for boys and girls in middle school. And that's what I really want. And so that's why I picked for Teens on the Run. And our logo is a little tennis shoes with the name on it, because it's about running or walking. And I think one of the things I really do enjoy in my life, I've seen, and I do that with my kids, is the importance of just being outdoors, being physical, running or walking. I think it helps you mentally, it helps you emotionally. And I think that's what Teens on the Run, my goal is when we do this in middle school, is to give those students the opportunity. A lot of kids we have gym, but they're not the kind of recess that you and I had. Everything's very structured, which is great. But it's nice to have something a little bit unstructured, and that's what we have sometimes. Just go out, play games, just not who's winning or losing, but just go out and have a good time. And playing games, that's when you learn how to deal and talk to people, learn how to, just learn how to win and lose or whatever. We don't have that as much.
Sure. Yeah. So unplanned, I'll say it this way. Sometimes you go out to have mandatory fun, right?
Right.
You're just saying, hey, let's just go out and have some real fun.
Yes. Well, when we were doing Teens on the Runs, one day I was talking to the students and I said, about flying a kite. Well, a lot of my students raised their hands, said they never had flown a kite. Like, are you really? They said, yeah. So the next class, I brought 30 kites, and we went out into the field, and I said, everybody, let's go fly a kite. I could not believe how exciting these kids were. And the principal came out at that time and said, I cannot believe seeing all these kids running around with kites. And I said, are you upset? She's like, no, I just never saw them. They were laughing and joking. I mean, it was so strange. But that's what Teens on the Run are. We have your mandatory running and walking. But if a student says, hey, Miss Lucy, I would like to try this, or we have guest speakers. Our guest speakers are the mandatory kind I have. I have a juvenile judge. I have a fitness coach. I have all these kind of persons that I think would be helpful to give information. The students make their choices later in life, whatever it is. But if there's somebody they wanted to hear from, I will find it. When we did Black Middle School, a student says, I like cooking. Do you think you can bring a chef in? I contacted, just like you, I contacted different groups, different restaurants, and this young man says, I'll come. And he came and he talked about the importance of cooking and running a restaurant, this and that. And the kids were, wow. Then they said, can you bring a doctor? One of the kids' parents had some breathing issues. Wanted to have a doctor come in. So I had a pulmonologist come in. And he talked about the lungs and why it's important and how you take care of yourself and this and that. It was great. And those are the kind of things that I try to provide with this program. There's endless ways to make it fun, but it's also informative.
Awesome. That's always appreciated, I'm sure, by students. And sometimes you'll run into parents and it's like, oh, my kid was in your program, right? And you get that affirmation that they're picking up some things, even though sometimes they don't. They try to act like that they're not.
Correct. And that's true. When we did the program, a lot of kids, as you probably know, kids go to school and they really don't talk about it. What they do a lot of times, how school kids always say, "Oh, it's fine, it's okay," or whatever. So towards the end of the program, a parent came up to me and said, "Are you Lucy?" I said, "Yes." And she said, "I didn't know you were the one who did this program." And I said, "Well," she said, "my son would just tell me, Miss Lucy's going to wait for me. Miss Lucy's looking for me." And what it really made me understand was, like you were saying, the kids in mentoring, they want somebody there, they're looking for it. And so she just said her son talked about the different things we did. And one of them was the kite. She said that he talked about having the kites, and I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
That's how you can make a difference. Little things, so you make a difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes it's not about the big home run you're going to hit. It's about the little things that you're going to do that's going to help them on an everyday basis, right? So, Lisa, we have a segment on the show that we call "Would You Rather."
Okay.
All right. So we're going to play a little round of "Would You Rather." All right.
Sure.
So, would you rather? An audience, you can always chime in. Just type your responses in the comments. All right. So here we go. Would you rather meet your great grandchildren or your great grandparents?
I would like to meet my great grandparents.
Great grandparents. All right. Would you rather have a life rewind button or a life pause button?
I think rewind. No, pause. Pause.
Okay.
Look over and see what you're thinking about life. Yeah.
All right. All right. Would you rather be stuck on an elevator or stuck on a ski lift?
On a ski lift, you can see all the beauty around.
Oh, yeah. But then you can also see how high you're up in the sky. It's stuck.
That's true. That's true. Elevators, I don't know. I'm not good. I think I'll start crying.
Yeah. Would you rather never eat dessert or never sleep?
I'd rather never eat dessert. I love my sleep. It's very important to me.
Okay. All right.
And I lose weight too.
Okay. Would you rather be a pirate or a ninja?
I think I would rather, well, I don't know. That's really interesting. I guess a ninja, because you get to do all these fun things and all that. Pirates, people are fearful of them.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You get to throw that star, right? If you're a ninja, yeah. So Jeff Willie said he wanted to meet his great grandchildren. He said he'd rather be stuck in an elevator, and he said he would rather never eat dessert. I'm not going to pick that one. I'd just rather not have to go to sleep anymore because I want that dessert. So a couple more here. Would you rather own your own private island or your own private jet?
I would like to have a jet and see the world.
Okay. All right. Would you rather have free Apple products forever or have free Wi-Fi wherever you go?
I guess the Apple be pretty good. Have all the different
Apple products.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yes. Now, last one I asked everybody. Would you rather have $1 million in Amazon gift cards or $100,000 in real money?
I'd rather have real money and I can do what I want to do, I guess, because with Amazon you have to buy certain products.
Yeah, you got to buy it on Amazon. But Amazon, you can buy everything on Amazon.
Well,
now.
that's true. I guess I should have thought about that. Don't do much on the Amazon thing.
Pretty sure Amazon going to allow you to invest real soon.
I'm sure. I didn't think about that. Right.
Yeah, Jeff Willis said he'd like to have the real money too. I'm going to take the Amazon gift cards and then I'm going to learn how to flip that so that I can then...
That's really smart. I didn't think about that. Very smart. Very smart.
Yes. So now, thank you for playing that round of Would You Rather. We always like that segment. So we're talking with Miss Lucy Fraga Fisher Cain, who is the founder of of Teens on the Run, which is a youth mentoring program for middle schools. Currently, they're in Black Middle School here in the Houston area, which is a Houston Independent School District school. And her website is teensontheRun.org. If you would like to volunteer for Teens on the Run, if you'd like to help out with Teens on the Run, if you'd like to give a donation. Now, I'm assuming you guys take donations.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so if
what nonprofit does it? Correct.
Right. If you'd like to give a donation, they are at a 501c3. You can see their website is scrolling across the bottom of the screen. Go ahead and click on that. I will also put that. I'll put that in the chat here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to copy that and paste that into the chat as well, so that you can then go on and donate to Teens on the Run here. Let me put this in the chat for people.
Thank you.
So that anyone that wants it can do it. Okay, so let's keep going here. Lucy, a few more questions here. So we did talk about why mentoring is so important to youth, but let's talk about it from the perspective of what does it do for the person who's the mentor? How does it help them? How does it benefit them?
I think as a mentor, it really helps because number one, we've already gone through the steps that the kids are looking to walk through. And so we try to give them some good advice. And I think that's one of the things about being a mentor. You want to help people find the difference where you may have misstep, or let them know what you found that was the most promising in their thing. So you try to do that. You also want to give back. And I think as we grow older, a lot of people like to give back. Because it makes a difference. It makes you feel good, but you want to make sure that who you're helping can eliminate some of the issues that you may have encountered, or give them a better idea of may happen down the road.
Sure.
So it's always really good. It's like when you want to go eat at a restaurant and you call somebody who went there. They can tell you what was really good, what wasn't bad. Same thing about mentoring. You're informing somebody, giving them information that maybe they can help them make good choices later in life. And that's what the whole program is about, or anything about mentoring.
Yes, I love that, and I'm glad you answered that in the way that you did. And I always say that mentoring is really about that significant piece earlier that I talked about. Significance is adding value to other people, and when we mentor, what we're doing is we have to model, we have to connect, and we have to involve. We have to model the behavior that we want to see, right? Okay. We have to connect with the youth where they are, not where we are. And then we have to involve them in the process, in our decision making, and what we're going to do, and we involve them in the conversation. See, everybody wants a seat at the table, right?
Right.
And that's really what the youth are saying as well. They want to have a seat at the table and to be heard.
And I think you're right. You need to make it in a way where they want to be a part of it. You're right. When mentors, they have it in their head, I'm going to do it this way. And it's not really how the kid or the student sees it. And so you have to figure out what's the best way to reach the student, how to connect. And you're so right, because I think that's sometimes you meet people and they're like, oh, I tried to do this, but it wasn't. It's because they didn't have the right mindset, like you were saying. To meet with the student, you have to get to their level, and not in a way in a respectful way.
Absolutely. Well, everybody wants to feel respected, and youth are no different, right? I know in the old days it was children should be seen and not heard, right? Well, that was nice then. Now, it's good to let their voice be heard. This is how we help them make better decisions. One of the things we do, Lucy, is that we will tell our children, we make all the decisions for them, and we'll tell them, no, I'm going to tell you what to wear. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to do this and all this type of stuff, right? But I also want you, Lucy, when you leave home, I want you to make good decisions, right?
That is a great example. That is a really good example. And you're right. That's what, unfortunately, sometimes we did, and that's not right. And then you wonder why your kid cannot make a decision, or a child cannot make a decision. And so good parenting is exactly what you were saying. I mentioned.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't get too afraid. When my son was little, he had a certain way what he wanted his clothes, and sometimes he would have a shirt that was like wrinkled or whatever, and he'd say, oh, it's all right. And I told my wife, I said, look, When he gets to a point at school where someone's saying something about it, it's going to be important to him.
Right.
Then he's going to want his shirt ironed.
Correct.
And he'll change, right?
Correct.
This is how they learn how to make better decisions.
No, you're right. And that's the goal. You're right. You want to, I think what you were saying, like when we were smaller or younger, our parents just said, this is the way it is, and that's it.
Right.
We grew up and started having parents, and we thought, I think it's a different way. We need to explain why this is. And it makes it, we don't have that tension between parents as much. And I think that's the difference. I think explaining to kids, and you don't want to go way overboard, but just giving them the information why some of these choices are why you're asking them to explain it to them.
Sure, you're absolutely right. My friend Dr. Jeff Willie says, remember, when you're raising kids, you produce kids. You see, absolutely agree with that, Dr. Willie. And thanks for tuning in, by the way. But yeah, so we have to remember all of these things when we're going to talk to youth and we're going to help them. One, we're helping ourselves, but we also help them make better decisions by allowing them to make decisions while we're there to help shape it.
Correct. So like when I have our speakers come and speak, they were like, well, what's the best way? Because you got to make an interactive presentation. You really just not up there talking to them. Ask questions, give them, feedback, because the people, our society has changed a lot. People want to be a participant. They don't want to just sit there all the time. And so that's really important. And that's how students, young people learn now more and more. Yes. Questions and answers, and, let them give their reasoning. May not always agree with it, but be respectful towards it.
Absolutely. So I remember you reminded me, I was presenting in Yantai, China. And I was presenting this technical information to these clinical laboratorians. And it was a Saturday. The room was full. And I was presenting. I had an interpreter. So I would present the slide and then he would interpret the slide. And we kept going back and forth like this. Well, about 30 minutes into this, I'm seeing people's eyes like glaze over and all this type of stuff. So, and in their culture, they don't say anything. They just sit and just listen. Well, I said, okay, I'm going to change this up a little bit because it was kind of boring to me. It's two people reading the same slide, right? So I stopped. I said, now, his name was Jeffrey. I said, Jeffrey, now what I want you to do is I want you to say exactly what I say, okay? Don't change it. He says, okay. I said, now I want you to tell everybody to stand up. And he looked at me. And I said, tell them. And then they all stood up. And then I said, now I want you to tell everyone to put their hands in the air and do like this with their hands. And he was like looking at me. I said, go ahead. And he told them and they were doing it. I said, now the last thing I tell everybody, I want them to turn around. And he looked at me again. And then he told them. And I said, now have them have a seat. And then I said, and say this. I said, in America, when we see that people are not paying attention, this is what we do. They all started laughing. They got a kick out of it. He said, Cedrick, this is for they in their culture. They never say anything in a meeting. They just listen. Right. Take in all the information. And but it also reminded me I needed to do some things a little bit different in my presentation. And I liked doing that, but it was different. Several people came up to me afterwards, like, that was pretty cool.
I'm sure they remember your presentation. I mean, that's what you wanted.
Well, wait a minute. They may not remember the presentation. They remember that exercise.
That's probably true too. But it was a little bit different. But yeah. But yes. You do want to make your audience engage and be engaged. So when they leave, they have something to say about it.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And with students, it's even more important, right?
It is. And in middle grade, students are very challenging at times to get to that point, because they're at a point where they're still a child, but they want to be an adult. So you have to find a sweet spot to be able to reach them. And our goal is to provide speakers that can do that, and and make it engaging for them. And that's why we try to bring topics where kids are of interest, to let them know we're there. to do that. But like I said, we have a variety of speakers, and one of the speakers I thought we did have was a teen therapist, and I thought it was really interesting because the therapist just asked questions and did questions and answer kind of format, and it was really informative or enlightening to me to see how kids really do want to be heard, like you said, and be respected of their ideas, and that was really a very awesome session when we had that teen therapist.
Yes, you're absolutely right about that. So we have some folks from Lake Charles Memorial Hospital in Lake Charles, Louisiana, that's tuned in. So let's say hello to them and welcome them to for listening in to the show. So a lot of times we have our mentors, and they help us along our way, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my question to you: do you have a mentor?
Well, my mentors are a couple of running groups. I have friends that I've known for a couple of years who are runners, and we chat and just talking to them, and they give me some really good ideas, just helping me ideas where I should go, what I should do when I have a question about certain things in my life, like Teens on the Run or things like that. But yes,
Okay,
it's just
all
a
right,
small group of people like that.
all
And
right,
my husband's really been very good about things like this.
awesome, awesome. So give us one thing you've learned it from a mentor, any of your mentors, in the last 6 months.
Well, I think restarting Teens on the Run. It was dormant, and I didn't really wasn't sure what to do. And I asked a couple of my friends, and they were all like, "Luce, this is the thing to do. Try to do, get it restarted. Reach out. The pandemic has created things. Schools are challenging, but the main thing is your focus has been to make a difference in young students' lives." And one of my friends works with a school and works with students on the psychology or social program. And she really made me think about this would be a good time to bring it back. Kids need to get something that just to have fun again, and also have mentors that make a difference. And college students bring them back in. So that mentor just helped me realize that there is a program. This program can work, and just restart it and just go focus. Like we've been talking about, you tell people, don't give up, don't give up. All she did was reiterate what I've been telling other people.
Wow. Well, that is awesome. That actually leads me to a point that I wanted to make sure that I share with our audience tonight before we go. So, and I didn't even know that you were going to say this, right? But this is, there's always a time, folks, that you have to learn how to review and reflect, right? Review meaning assess something that you're intentional about, that you want to improve, or that you may have to that you need to reflect on, right? Review it and decide whether you need to move forward with it, whether you need to change it, whether you need to do whatever. Then the reflection part comes in when you got to think deeply about an experience that you went through, right? So experience is not the best teacher. Evaluated experience is really the best teacher. You see, because let's say you ride a bicycle, Lucy, and you fall down on a bicycle, right? But you don't think about why you fell or what things you're going to do the next time, right? That you've had the experience, but it's not a teacher yet. It becomes a teacher when you reflect on what you did wrong and how you can make it better. So we like to say that evaluated experience is the best teacher.
It is. It really is.
Yeah. And what I like about what you just said about your program, your mentor said, hey, you need to restart this up again. So I'm sure some of the questions that you probably asked yourself along the way, and we put it in this way, is one, do I deliver? Do I make good things happen for other people in this program? And if you came up, the answer is yes, boom. Okay, so that's a check mark, right? The other is, do other people enjoy working with me and working in this program, right? Am I a pleasure to be around? Do my actions and my words show people I care about them, right? Check mark. Okay, so that's check mark number 2. The third question is, am I growing, right? With whom am I sharing my time? Am I learning something? Am I helping other people also grow, right? As a part of this process. And then check mark number 3. So that means then what you do is you do exactly what Lucy did. Relaunch Teens on the Run. So if you have a program and you're out there and you're trying to think about what it is you need to do with the next level of your program, ask yourself those three questions. Do I deliver? Do others enjoy working with me? And am I growing either myself or someone else? And if it's a yes to all of those, make it happen.
That is just perfect. That is great. That's what people need to hear all the time when they're doing a program or starting something. You are so right. You're great.
Awesome. Oh, you said I'm great. See, folks, she just said it. I'm great.
You are.
I'm
You
gonna
really
replay
are.
that. Just that highlight. I'm gonna replay that all the time.
Oh, yeah. You are. You're really good. You give people the opportunity to think and how to grow within just your conversations in your program, and that's what's really important. It really
Awesome.
is. Being very serious.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I know I appreciate that, and I always joke about it, but I am going to send that part to my wife so she'll know.
Well, I was going to say send that to your wife, but they're like, I don't know. I don't want to get any problems.
So, what do you say is the best thing that happened to you this year, Lucy?
So the best thing, I'm very grateful to going through. I know it was about the pandemic. That to me is I've been very grateful for all the things that have been going on. That we've been very healthy and taken care of because I'm grateful. We just came back from a 2 weeks vacation, driving around the country. We went to New York and came back. And one of the things I really was grateful was the beauty of our country and meeting people of all different. We went through 14 states and we met different people. And it was great. There were people from different backgrounds and this and that. But what I really found, there were more alike than apart. And
Sure.
I think people would forget that. And I'm very grateful to that. And I learned a lot through those 2 weeks of just meeting new people. And yes, I was seeing family and friends, but I also got the opportunity to meet other people.
Well, that is outstanding. A couple more questions before we end the show. So, you've done a lot of great things in your personal life and in your career, and with Teens on the Run. Tell us something that you tried and it didn't work. It failed. Tell us, what was the failure and what was the lesson that you learned from it?
Well, the one failure I always go back to, and this wasn't recent, and I hope it's okay with you, but it was a life-changing one in me. When I was in college, I got a scholarship to go to school, and I didn't focus on school, and I lost my scholarship. And it was because I hung around with a group of, just having a good time. And so I had to tell my parents I lost my scholarship. And I use this because this is when I really realized you sort of find out who you really want to be. And so I had to tell my parents I lost the scholarship. I will have to take a college loan to pay for my school. And so I told my parents, and I was expecting them to yell at me and get all mad. They didn't. I know I was like, what's wrong with them? And my mother and father, both of them never had beyond a 6th grade education, and they really put the importance of education. And so what my mother did was call each of my aunts and uncles and told them that I had flunked out. And she just said, can you believe that happened? Just watching her do that, I wish she had just done everything possible, just spank me, whatever, but just that. And so when I went back to school, I saw my friends again. I at least want to do that. And I said, you know what, guys, I have to make a choice. I have to get back into school and do what I need to do. Never got my scholarship back because once you lose a scholarship, you lose it. Learn that. Number 2, I was on the dean's list the rest of the time I was in college because it really made me realize where I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. And that's when I realized the importance of education, the importance of hard work, the importance of, yes, you can have friends, but you need to make sure the friends that you have help you meet the goals you want. And I think that's the most important. And yes, that was years ago, but failure has been instilled in me for my whole life. And I've told my kids every time they feel like they fail, what have you done from it? Just like you said. Failure is part of life. It's how you react to it and what you do with that failure. And that decides who you want to be. And that's why I feel like giving different, getting involved with the community. I like students to know that you may make mistakes, but it's not the end of the world. Do something.
Yeah, absolutely, 100% agree with you. So if you're at home by yourself, the husband's gone, the children are not visiting, the 2 senior cats, right? They're also gone as well, right? What dessert are you going to eat?
Strawberry shortcake with a glass of wine.
That's a good one, a good refreshing one to eat with the little sponge cake.
Yes, yes, yes. Love
Awesome.
strawberry shortcake.
Okay, all right. So here's my final question for you, Lucy. If well, actually, before that, so Teens on the Run again. Go
Yes.
to the website. It's teensontheRun.org. It's scrolling across the bottom of your screen. Lucy is they look for volunteers. They look for donations. If you have a friendly donation that you want to help this 501c3 with, definitely go to the website and you can do that as well. Anything else you want to say about Teens on the Run?
It's just a really good program. If middle school is interested in the Houston area, please email me or contact me, and we can make it work. There's all it's a free program. It can make a difference. It's good for the students who just have nothing to do, and you want your students to have something fun to do and have some good interaction with college students. But
Well,
yes, donations, volunteers, or middle school wants to be participating.
awesome, awesome, awesome. I like that. So, final question for you. If there was a book that was written about you, Lucy, what would the title of the book be? And what would the summary in the back of the book say about you?
Well, the whole time, my theme has been don't be fearful of hard work. And that would be the title. Don't be fearful of hard work. That would be the title of it. And the summary would be that the hard work will make you reach the goals. And my summary would say that Lucy really believes that making a difference, making hard work to make a difference in the community, well, it's a great way of life for her. Something like that. I don't know. I'm not good at this, Cedrick. You're good. I'm not. I just like doing things that make a difference. I was raised that way, and it makes me happy to do things with young students. And that's why I like working with the Houston Young Lawyers, working with young attorneys, helping them as well.
Well, you did a great job. So you may not think so, but you did an outstanding job. So thank you for coming on the show. Talk Leadership with Cedrick is always I always like to have different guests on with different ideas and different opinions and different things. So I appreciate you coming on the show. And one of the things you said is, hey, you want to make a difference with people. And we call those people transformational leaders. And we know that transformational leaders are people who want to make a difference with people who want to make a difference, doing something that makes a difference at a time that it makes a difference. So keep making a difference and keep making an impact in the lives of young people. And your life will be richly blessed from that. So thank you again for coming on the show. Folks, go ahead.
Because I've been originally blessed by meeting you and getting this opportunity. I'm being very honest about that. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. So, folks, tomorrow night at 5:30 Central Time, tune in to Talk Leadership with Cedrick. You're just going to have all of me for that time, and we're going to be having a good time. I won't tell you, you got to come and hear what the topic is going to be about. We're going to have a really rich conversation tomorrow. And then at 6:30 p.m. Central Time, tune over to the Black Entrepreneurs Institute live show on the Empowered Living Facebook channel. And we're going to be having a dynamic youth preneur on. So make sure you tune in for that. And then Thursday, 5:30 Central Time, Talk Leadership with Cedrick. Thursday edition. Tune in 8:30 Friday morning for Friday Mental Motivation. I'm going to bring 15 minutes of real hard pain for you, helping you understand how to go from ordinary to extraordinary, folks. And remember, as I always like to end the show on, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu, and don't be on the menu. Thank you guys, and I hope that you have a good night.